Hello, everybody. All right, I just wanted to do this update, but I'm also wanted to do a little bit more. I want to give you something, something you can take away from this, something, a fun exercise that can actually make a big difference for you right now. So let's get into the updates real quick. So I've been going live past few weeks talking about how much we really enjoy working in small groups, doing these free classes, gives you something that you can walk away with, a plan that you can implement into your life right now. And so we decided to do more small groups, because when you're doing stuff for free, obviously there's a lot of people who sign up, and the bigger the groups get, the less sort of one-on-one interaction that we can have. And the one-on-one interaction is so much more enjoyable for me, for Nate, and I know that people get a lot more out of it whenever we're able to give you more attention. So we're gonna do smaller classes. And so how we're doing this, because we understand that people are in different time zones. If you go to the link in the description, you click on that link, it will put you on a list. We're also going to ask you some questions about what it is you're wanting to get out of the training, and also what is your time zone. So then we can make these smaller free classes that are more tailored to not only what it is that you are wanting to accomplish, or helping you get what it is that you want, it's also on a time that you're available. So a lot of people in different parts of the world wasn't able to attend our last call that we did a few weeks ago, because it was like 3 in the morning in England, and we get a lot of people from England. And then I know there's people in Australia, maybe sometimes South Africa. So anyway, we want to make this more accommodating for you. And so what will happen is you click that link in the description, it'll ask you those questions, and it will put you on a list. And then based on your time zone and based on what it is that you're looking to get out of the training, you will be sent an invite. And then you respond to that invite. And I'm really happy about this, by the way, because it's really what I've always wanted to do, is just work in smaller groups. It's going to be more intimate, and like I said, I get to give more one-on-one attention, and I get to hear more from you about what it is you're working with, what it is you're struggling with. So we're just making this more and more available to more people. But like I said, it is smaller classes, and that's why we're doing the invite. We're doing it as an invite. Okay, so let's talk about, let's do an exercise here. It's going to be simple, it's going to be easy, but I think you'll find it makes a really big difference. So we are in really uncertain times, and no matter what your opinion is about it, it's affecting all of us. So when you think about uncertain times, what most people do, or something you're uncertain about, what most people do is they put all of their attention on that uncertainty. And so that is really destabilizing, and it's really anxiety producing. So real quick, take a context of your life where you feel like there's the most uncertainty. Now, I think for a lot of people right now, that probably career, probably finances, for a lot of you, that's probably where you feel like there's a lot of uncertainty, but it's certainly not, we don't have to limit ourselves to that context. You could be in a relationship or a marriage that feels very uncertain, feels very shaky. You could be struggling with raising your kids, and you're feeling a lot of uncertainty with your relationship with your kids. So the context is not limited to any one context, but for the sake of the exercise, choose a context. Don't jump from context to context until you're done with the exercise, and then you can choose another context and go work on that. So anyway, choose a context, and let's just use career or financial, because that's what a lot of people are dealing with right now. And so think about what it is that you feel so uncertain about, and just take a moment to notice how you represent that. So when you access that information, you access that uncertainty, it probably starts out as a feeling, because that's what that's what we're usually first aware of, is a feeling. But if we go into it, we realize that feeling is being triggered by some sort of internal representation. And that could be visual, it could be auditory, and it can be kinesthetic, but not in the feeling, emotional, evaluative kinesthetic. It's more like you might feel pressure on your arm or on your shoulders or something like that, and then it triggers this sort of uncertain, uneasy feeling. So most of you probably visualize, because I think the majority of people do visualize more than use auditory or use kinesthetic. So for most of you, you're seeing an image, and I really like working in the visual modality. Even if you're not a primarily visual person, you actually want to develop this a little bit, because working in the visual is so much more powerful, because you can access so much more information visually simultaneously than you can in any other modality. So I know some of you are very auditory and you struggle with visualizing. It is a skill. You can develop it. Don't think that, oh, I can't visualize. It's not true. Everybody visualizes. If you didn't, you wouldn't be able to recognize your friends and your family, because you have to have an image in your mind of what they look like in order to see them, to notice them, to recognize them. So even if you are auditory, I would say, see if you can find the image that the audio matches with. So if that audio had an image, what would it look like? Now, for a lot of you, you're already visualizing. You're visualizing that uncertainty. So you're just looking for, how do you represent that? How do I know this thing in my life feels uncertain? And you'll have, like I said, a representation of that. So what a lot of people are doing when they feel really uncertain is they're only putting their attention on that representation of uncertainty. What they're not often doing is finding what it is they are certain about in the same situation. So you don't want to take something random that you're certain about. You want to take something in the same context that you do feel certain about. So if it's my career, maybe there's a lot of uncertainty of whether or not I will have a job going forward. And then I might be paying a lot of attention to that representation. It makes me feel really uneasy. But then I can say to myself, okay, well, what am I certain about here? Because you're always certain about something in any context. Maybe you're certain about your abilities. Maybe you're certain about your skills. Those things, nobody can take that away from you. Whatever experience you've earned, whatever skills you've earned, nobody can take that away from you. Not a bad economy, not a boss. So that would be one thing that you could focus on. And that's not the only thing. There could be other things that you're very, very certain about. You might be certain about the industry, but you might be uncertain about where you fit in that industry. So there's a lot of combinations here. But anyway, what would it be like to hold both those representations at the same time? A representation of uncertainty in a particular context, and then finding something you are certain about in the same context. Well, how do you represent that? You probably get two different images. And like I said, this could be happening in the auditory. And if it is, and you're struggling with getting into the visual, then how do you represent that auditorily, the uncertainty? And how do you represent the certainty in the same context auditorily? And what if you were to hear those two sounds or voices at the same time? And so, with the visuals, what happens when you put both visuals side by side and even let them touch? And so now you've got this balance of, well, yeah, there are things that I'm certain about, and there are things that I'm uncertain about. How does that feel when you do that? You should feel something right away. It should feel a lot better. It doesn't mean that the uncertainty completely goes away, but when you combine the combination, more of a balance, more of an integration of, yeah, there are things that I am certain about, and yes, there are things that I am uncertain about. This should change the feeling right away, and it should be a more accurate way and a more accurate approach to the situation. Now, you can go further with this and you can play around with it even more. You can make the certainty image much bigger, and then you can put the uncertain image like down in the corner. So you recognize, you accept the uncertainty, but it happens in the container of what it is you're certain about. And that can be extremely powerful, and it'll make the uncertainty feel it doesn't have as much control over you. It doesn't make you feel so anxious and fearful. It's hard to perform well. It's hard to make good decisions if you're overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. So this kind of puts it in perspective, and you say, okay, yeah, there's definitely some uncertainty here, but I'm going to put a lot of attention on what I am certain about while acknowledging the uncertainty. And you could do something else. You could take 4 things that you're certain about in this situation and put those images all touching. So you have like a block of 4 images, and then you can take that uncertain image and put it in the middle, or you could put it in anywhere in there. And again, you're going to have a very similar experience like this. Now, the one thing that you want to be careful of, what could be a problem that occurs when you put too much attention on what you're certain about and not enough attention on what you're uncertain about? What can happen is you don't really move forward. You don't really advance. You stick to what you're familiar with, and you don't challenge yourself. So this comes with a what's the word I'm looking for? Just understand this part of it. And so make sure that you don't do this to yourself, because some people cling to certainty so much that they don't take risks, they don't challenge themselves, they don't advance, they don't move forward, they don't fulfill their potential. And you don't want to do that either. So you want to find the right balance here of giving yourself a sense of enough certainty that you don't feel overwhelmed by fear and anxiety, and a little bit of that uncertainty, so it's kind of like a challenge. It's kind of like, yeah, I want to I want to move in that direction. I want to make that uncertainty feel more certain by taking that risk, by taking that challenge, by taking action, by really going forward. So we all need a certain amount of certainty. We can't function in complete uncertainty. So give that to yourself, but also be willing to take that challenge, that be willing to move into the unknown, the things that you're not certain about, because when you move in that direction, those things then become certain. And you always want to have a healthy amount, a healthy balance of certainty and uncertainty. So you're always challenging yourself. You're always moving in the direction of fulfilling your potential. And at the same time, you carry with you enough certainty to know that no matter what, you're going to be fine. It's all going to be okay. You'll figure it out because you have all the resources and the tools that you need. So that being said, if you want more tools and resources, if you want to work with me, the swish pattern, yes, it works very well. If you want to work with me in a small group of people, that's what we're doing. We have some dates planned. We want to find out more about you. So go to that link in the description below. And like I said, we're going to tailor these free trainings around your time zone and what it is you're looking for. And we get to sit in a smaller group so that I can give you more attention and we get to work on this. So make sure you go to that link, sign up for it, get on that list. Like I said, you'll get sent an invite. And we want to make sure that if you agree to the invite, that you're moving forward with this, that you're actually going to show up. Let's see, hello Small Toe, if you would turn your mic volume up, it would be appreciated. Yeah, I can't really do that, and I'm not going into the big technical explanation of why I can't do that. Not because I don't want to. I would if I could. Let me put it that way. Okay, so if you want to work with me in a small group, also with my partner Nate, go to that link, sign up, and you'll get that invite, and we will expect that you will show up if you reserve your spot. All right. So hope that tip, that process that I just gave you works really well for you. It works really well for me. There's a lot more that you can do. There's a lot more that goes along with it, but it's a really quick tool that you can use and get immediate results from. All right. I hope to see you in one of these groups that we're doing, and I hope you're staying safe. So take care, everybody.